Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts. And I'm excited to kick off Season 2 of our podcast series in partnership with Rappahannock Electric Cooperative. It's called We Are REC. Every week we'll release a new episode talking to different people from REC about a host of different topics. We'll get tips for saving money on your electric bill. We'll talk about renewable energy and the impact it can have in our communities. We'll get some behind-the-scenes info about what happens when the power goes out in a storm. Don't miss out on information about community grants, scholarships, REC-hosted events, and more. Get every single episode on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or on Spotify. Just do a quick search for We Are REC. Hello and welcome to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Wednesday. As you are listening to the show today, we, however, have pre-recorded our conversation over Zoom on a Friday afternoon. We are chatting today with Andy Morocco. He is Shenandoah University's head cross-country and track coach. And Andy, are you staying in shape and still running even though technically there's not a season this year?
I am. I'll tell you what, this pandemic has done wonders for me staying in shape. When I oversee 6 teams at Shenandoah and about 70 athletes, it keeps me running around pretty tirelessly from sunup to sundown. But in an unfortunate situation with the pandemic happening and our spring season got canceled, it actually let me take a step back and get back to some serious training of my own that I've kind of been putting on the back burner for a couple of years now.
So as the coach, do you typically run with the kids, or are you at the beginning and the finish line to kind of talk to them about their times? I mean, how does that work as a cross-country coach?
Sure. It depends on what the workout is. If we're doing an interval session or a speed workout, I break them up with their training partners and they go out and hit the paces and the workout they're supposed to. If we're doing just like an easy endurance run, I'll hop in with them just, to keep them company and give myself a couple training miles of my own. And then if we're going on, a long run, I might hop on the bike and provide water and Gatorade and stuff like that. So, the coaching this sport is a unique situation where I'm not just standing on the sideline, blowing into a whistle. I'm able to get active with them somewhat. And I think that really helps create more of a bond because they see me out there with them in the trenches, not necessarily logging every single mile with them, but I'm out there with them. And if it's raining, if it's snowing, if it's hot, I'm out there with them.
I was really kind of surprised because I thought that there might be a few of these fall sports that would squeak through even with COVID because of the nature of how they're played. And cross country was one of those that I thought, well, they might be able to pull that off because you're outside at least.
Yeah, that was a real shock to me to hear when the NCAA originally postponed and then eventually canceled some of the non-contact sports like cross country. Hopefully tennis and golf get to have their season in the spring, but some of these non-contact sports should have gone through, but it is what it is at this point, and we're trying to make the best of it.
So what happens to your athletes that were coming to SU and had intended to run? I mean, I know we're going to talk in a few minutes about the new Shenandoah Valley Cross Country League, but what about the existing athletes at the school? What happens to them?
So the only thing that was canceled was NCAA saying there was not going to be a championship. At the conference level, the fall sports have not been canceled. They've just been technically postponed to the spring. So even though there will not be an official NCAA cross-country season or football or field hockey, there still is the chance that we do contest these sports in the spring to still have a conference championship at that level. And in doing so, in order to help the student athletes stay sane, keep the retention up, stuff like that, we're still allowed to have practice. They're still in structured weight room sessions, team study halls, team meetings, stuff like that. So it's almost business as usual, just without traveling on the weekends at this point.
Yeah, there's just no competition necessarily.
Right. And the returners, we weren't as worried about. We knew it was upsetting that we weren't going to have a season. But, the rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and we actually have 4 grad students still on the track team. We weren't worried about them coming back because we built that relationship. They've experienced Shenandoah. They know coming to campus, even in this unique environment, what that still means to them. We were a little, I wouldn't say worried, but we were definitely walking on eggshells with the incoming freshman class. And it turned out that for Shenandoah, the entire university as a whole, this is the biggest incoming freshman class we've ever had. So it's amazing how, the silver linings played out, that even in this unique situation, Shenandoah has put such a good plan in place to navigate through this. But a plan is just scribbled on paper until you have someone buy into it and trust it. And wow, like what an amazing show of that trust with this incoming freshman class that we had.
So was the competition aspect of it part of what drove you to create this new league, so that these athletes, not just at Shenandoah, because I understand it could be middle school or even high schoolers, can participate, just to give them that little bit of a competition to be able to participate in?
So it was twofold. Half of my brain obviously wants to make sure I'm looking out for my athletes here at Shenandoah. They've been training since middle of March. The first weekend of March, we were in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for our outdoor opener at the Coastal Carolina Invitational. That's when we found out we were coming home. And the semester went online. Spring season was canceled. The team took 2 weeks off, and then I told them it's time to get ready for cross country. We've had our, I guess, sense of mourning for, what was to be this track season, but it's now time to focus on cross country. So since the first week of April, they have been grinding to get ready for this. And now to have that balloon deflated again, I thought we got to do something. We got to figure something out. So the initial thought was, how do I keep my kids engaged here at Shenandoah? And then twofold of that, I'm also on the board of directors at the Kernstown Battlefield. So it had come up in a couple off the record discussions of how there won't be any high school meets out here, there won't be any college meets out here this year, and each one of those meets puts over 1,000 people on their property. So even just the attention going to the battlefield of, there's some people right here in Winchester, Frederick County, and this region that when you say Kernstown Battlefield, they say, well, where's that? I said, it's literally 2 miles away. It's in your backyard. So even though they're in the business of preserving a Civil War battlefield in history, them being the home venue for Shenandoah cross country also brings a ton of foot traffic to their property, a lot of attention, a lot of publicity. So I started brainstorming, hey, maybe we can help both causes with the college runners and getting some foot traffic and notoriety to the battlefield. And I pitched the idea to the board and said, what do you think about this? And, it just kind of started evolving. We started working through all the necessary steps to make sure that this is entirely safe in this COVID atmosphere that we're currently in. We don't want to put our community at risk. And as well as giving this an opportunity to not just our runners here at Shenandoah, but the entire regional running community that for the last, 15 years has really gotten, has really gotten to appreciate what it means to run cross country at Kernstown Battlefield. And There's kids that graduated from Shenandoah back in 2008 that experienced that. There's Hanley High School graduates that were running back in 2006 that have run on that property. And now, they're either, some of the high schoolers are still in high school, the college ranks, or even now post-collegiately. I have 6 or 7 of our alumni, some of them, the oldest one graduated in 2012, that is registered for this league because of what that property meant to her. So, it's been a very fortunate set of circumstances that brought this all to fruition.
I will say I didn't realize, you obviously know our station owner, Andrew, and Andrew also is a cross-country coach at his home college at Goldie Beacom. Yep. I know he has registered for the race. He and I go round and round all the time because I don't run to my car in a thunderstorm. So I don't understand this concept of running, but I've done several shows over the last few years with Tony Baker and Chris Conyer from Frederick County Parks and Rec. And they do a lot of talking about the marathons and the different races that they run. There really is a large running community in Winchester, Frederick County.
Yeah, there certainly is. And I grew up in South Jersey, right outside Philadelphia, and it was a huge running populace there. And when I moved here in 2006, I really didn't know what the running scene was like here. And year after year, meeting the Parks and Rec guys, meeting the local high school coaches, and really just, getting in the trenches with with the local running community has been fantastic. Knowing Mark Stickley, the owner of Runners Retreat and the Hanley High School cross-country coach, and he actually, I ran for him at the USATF National Championships in 2010. We put a team together under the Runners Retreat banner. And this is a phenomenal area for the running community. It has been a blessing in my 15 years here to be a part of that.
Well, let's take a quick break, but when we come back, can you give me all of the details for the new cross-country league? When does it start? How do people register? How many races? All of the details?
Sure, absolutely. Look forward to it.
All right, we're going to do all of that in just a couple of minutes. We are having a conversation over Zoom today with Andy Morocco. He is Shenandoah University's head cross-country and track coach. He is also one of the founding members, I guess we'll call him, of the Shenandoah Valley Cross Country League. He's going to give us all of the details for that when we come back in just a couple of minutes.
Do you know anyone who is struggling with financial hardships because of coronavirus? Our new webinar called Coping with the Money Crunch can help. We'll talk about immediate options to consider, revising or creating a spending plan, and lots of community resources. Then we'll cover how to narrow your priorities, contact creditors, and avoid scams and risky loans. The webinar is free, and you can either join by phone or through Zoom on a smartphone, tablet, or computer. You can find out more by visiting the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program on Facebook or calling Karen Poff at 540-635-4549. Let me show you how to make your own plan or help someone you care about get through the crisis. Call 635-4549 or visit at NSV Financial Education on Facebook today.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Wednesday. As you are listening to the show today, we, however, have pre-recorded our conversation over Zoom on a Friday afternoon. We are chatting today with Andy Morocco. He is Shenandoah University's head cross-country and track coach. And you're wearing a second hat today, Andy, because you're going to fill me in on the new Shenandoah Valley Cross Country League. You guys have races that are just around the corner, but it's not too late for runners to register and participate in this new league, is it?
No, they still have 2 weeks. Well, when this airs, they will have about 10 days. Registration closes at midnight on Friday, September 18th. So you still have about a week and a half from when you're listening to this. The registration website is ShenandoahValleyXCLeague.com, and it will take you straight there. All the information is right there on the homepage, but we could certainly talk about some of that information today.
So how many races are going to be in this particular league's season?
So we wanted this to be an actual season for the local runners. Road races are a dime a dozen. You run one and you're done. There's no team scoring. And that won't replace the season that they had taken away from them. So we wanted this to be an actual season, a league. So there's going to be 4 regular season meets, Friday, September 25th, Friday, October 9th, Friday, October 23rd, and then Saturday, November 14th. The September race is a 5,000 meter. October 9th is a 5,000 meter race. For those of you not familiar with metric, that's about 3 miles. Friday, October 3rd, we drop down to a 3K race, which is just short of 2 miles. And then the final regular season meet on November 14th is 6,000 meters, which is just a touch over 3.5 miles. So we wanted to vary the distances a little bit for a couple reasons. One, that's what a typical college cross-country season would look like. And 2, we wanted to give, some people, like the high schoolers, are going to have a lot more strength in the 3K, 5K realm, whereas the college and post-college runners are going to have a little more experience in the 6K, 5K. So it makes it a little bit more level playing grounds when we're talking about ranges of age 12 up to age 40. So, we wanted to give everybody that good experience. And then there is a 5th final championship race the Saturday before Thanksgiving on November 21st, and that is a 5,000 meter race. And in order to qualify for the championship, we're going to be taking we're going to add the time up throughout the season. So whatever you ran for all 4 races, you add that up. And we take the top 35 males, 35 females, and then the top 5 males and females out of each age group of 18 and under, 19, I believe it's 19 to 29, and then 30 and above. So basically 50 males and 50 females in total will then qualify for the championship race the weekend before Thanksgiving.
I know in a regular season, high school or college, most of your cross-country meets are held at least every week. And I notice these are every 2 weeks or so apart. Is there a reason why you spaced them out that way?
Sure. So with, all the safety protocols with COVID being put in place, that was our number one priority. We want to give them an experience, an opportunity to race, but not at the point of risking our community. The Frederick County and the whole region from Winchester down to Front Royal over to the mountains has done a tremendous job keeping COVID at bay. I know we have had some cases, but it's been very healthy with our region here. And we didn't want to undo that with something like this. So the races are scheduled every 2 weeks to make sure that if, God forbid, somebody tests positive, they're not going to have to miss 3 or 4 races or the whole season as a whole. They might end up sitting out 1 race, but they'll still get the quote season under their belt. So that was one of the protocols we wanted to make sure we kept in place to keep our community safe.
What other things? I'm sure you've got a big, long list of COVID-19 protocols just to be on the safe side.
Sure. There is a long list. We ran these protocols by the infectious disease doctor at Valley Health to make sure that he thought that what we were doing was safe and healthy, and he thought we went above and beyond. He did make one adjustment to what we initially proposed, so we worked that in, and we are asking all the athletes to submit a symptom check that morning. That's going to have questions like, are you experiencing any of these symptoms as new symptoms recently? Temperature check. Have you been exposed to anybody that's tested positive in the last 2 weeks? So covering our bases that way. They're required to be in masks at all times, warming up, cooling down in the corral, waiting to start. Once the race starts, they are allowed to take their mask off, but it is encouraged that they wear it during the run. But that's the one leniency we're going to have, is once they actually start racing, they can drop the mask. As soon as they get into the finish corral, though, they do have to put it back on, so they can't just ditch it and be done with it. If they choose not to race with it, they are going to have to hold on to it, or, you know, tuck it into their sport bra or something like that. No spectators. We need to keep the number of bodies at bay as much as possible. So if there's a high schooler or a middle schooler, their parent can bring them to the battlefield, but there's going to be a roped off area where drivers need to stay and wait for their athletes to come back from the actual race. So we're not going to be allowing any spectators on the actual race grounds where people are competing. And I guess the final biggest piece, and again, all these protocols are on Shenandoah Valley XCLeague.com, but the last biggest protocol is we're capping it at 250 runners, again, to limit the number of bodies on the property. And those of you who have not signed up yet, we are getting quite a bit. We had 4 signed up today. We're getting close to 150 as it is. But 250 is the max, but we're going to send them off in waves of 50. So we have a 95 meter wide starting line, and in waves of 50, they're essentially 2 meters apart, about the 6 foot recommended distance. And the course that we're utilizing is a new design that the high school and the college hasn't ever used before. This new course has almost a 700 meter straightaway before the first turn. So as the race is going and the runners start separating out, you won't have any of that bottlenecking where they're going through any tight turns or anything until they hit 700 meters. And then we're going to be sending them, like I said, in waves of 50 every 2 minutes apart based on their entry time. So the fastest will go first, the slowest will go last. So that way there's no overlapping, nobody's catching up to anybody, and we're able to maintain the social distancing before the race, during the race, and after the race. And with the social distancing and the masks, doing the pre-symptom check the morning of, that's really 3 of the biggest home run protocols that we're putting in place to make sure that, you know, we can do this safely and go home back to our families and not put our community in jeopardy.
And you've touched on this a couple of times throughout our conversation today, but who exactly is a good candidate to register to run? You've talked about different age groups, female, male. Give me who should sign up to be a part of this league?
Honestly, anybody. We want this to be a community event. As it stands right now, we have a couple women that are entered at 32 minutes, I believe, for a 5K, which is about 10 minutes a mile. And then we have some elite guys that are entered at 15:30 for the 5K, which is half the time of the slowest entry. And this isn't meant to be a snooty, elite only run. This should be a community event. Again, the priority was giving the running community access to something, anything. And secondly, to give the battlefield some attention. And, there might be some adults out there that are just history junkies and have never been to the battlefield before. And, they sign up for this league and they get their feet on the property and realize, wow, I didn't realize this is out here. And we have a whole visitor center. We have an artillery building with Civil War cannons. They do tours every Saturday and Sunday of the property. So outside of the running, we wanted to make sure this was, putting some attention on what the battlefield is doing for our community as well.
So you mentioned a championship. What do the winners get? I mean, are they going to get this really cool trophy? Or are they going to get one of those cool little things they put around their neck, a medal? How does that work?
So there's a champion trophy for the overall male and female. And unique to it being on a Civil War battlefield. The trophy will be a cannon. And then the top 10 overall finishers are getting medals. The winner for each age group also gets a medal. And then there might be a couple gift certificates involved in some capacity, whether we do a raffle or something like that. So we want to make sure even the people that come in kind of knowing I'm not going to win this, to still have an opportunity to, maybe win a raffle and get some discounted shoes somewhere or something like that.
Walk away with some swag of some sort.
Yeah. And every entrant for the league also gets a Dry Fit t-shirt. All of their race bib numbers are customized to their name or whatever. One of the girls that is entered, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing to admit, but one of the women that I coach has entered the league, and the name on her bib number is Old Bay because she likes Old Bay seasoning. So the bib numbers is a unique touch that, you get to customize and walk away with that as a memento as well.
And this is not an expensive league to join. I mean, it is really affordable.
Yeah. I mean, when you break it down, all 5 races, assuming you qualify for the championship, it's $20 a race. And, you go to any road race on the weekend and they're $25, $30, $50. The Battlefield Half Marathon is close to $100. I've run the Boston Marathon quite a number of times. And, that's getting close to $200 to run that. So, to get an entire season, and like I said, with the t-shirt and the awards and all that for $100, it's a pretty good deal. We didn't want to price it out to where, if we do have a couple middle schoolers and high schoolers where there's 2, 3, 4 kids in the family that run, and we didn't want to price it out to the point where, only 1 or 2 could do it, or even if there is only 1 runner, we didn't want to make it so expensive that it breaks the bank. I know, some of my kids right here at Shenandoah, they're working jobs just to buy their running shoes and to get snacks on the side. I didn't want to make this unaffordable for them to, give them an opportunity, but then say, hey, good luck paying for it. So, and there is some proceeds at the end that do go back to the battlefield to help with some of their restorations and fix the buildings up. They do a tremendous job on their grounds crew out there with just the groundskeeping and whatnot. So what is left over, those proceeds are going to go help the battlefield with some of their restorations.
So before we wrap up, where is the best place for people to go if they want to get more information, see the COVID protocols, fill out the registration form? Where should they go? Sure.
So go to the website, Shenandoah Valley XCLeague.com, and everything is right there. If you do have any questions, all my contact information is on suhornets.edu. That's where all of my coaching information is. So if you do have a question, feel free to reach me at my SU email. This is not an SU hosted event. It is hosted by the Kernstown Battlefield Association. It's just a special opportunity that I do get to wear the 2 hats with being on their board as well as being the coach here. So go to the website, Shenandoah Valley XCLeague.com, or shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to help you out with anything I can. We got 10 days to go, so sign up, and I hope to see you out there.
Well, you won't see me out there, but I encourage everybody who's listening that runs to do it. How about that? I'll use my voice to encourage others.
There you go. And sometimes spectators is what we need. We got the coaches, we got the parents, and sometimes you just need someone yelling some positive encouragement
to cheer you on.
There you go.
Well, we are going to wrap up our conversation today. We have been chatting with Andy Morocco. He is Shenandoah University's head cross country and track coach. He has been giving us all the details for Shenandoah Valley Cross Country League. Everything that Andy mentioned, the web address to get more information for that, as well as all of Andy's contact information, is up on the show notes page. Just go to theriver953.com, choose the podcast tab. There is the Valley Today, and all of the links and everything will be there. Andy, thank you for taking some time out of, here we're sitting at late on a Friday afternoon of a 3-day weekend. So thank you for not bailing on me early and recording today's show with me.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Janet.
I'll be back for a brand new episode of The Valley Today tomorrow, just a few minutes after noon. Meet me back here then.